cushion for the seat, and I want to get rid of the seam, that little area that I added. One way to do it is I'm gonna go to my side view, the right view, and I'm gonna look at this for a second, and I have all this detail. So you can see that I grabbed a bunch of faces around and I added more faces and I extruded. Let me go back to the perspective. I can actually start getting rid of those areas. So I'm gonna go to the edge, and I'm gonna double click on this one. So if you double click on an edge, it will select the entire loop. Now the thing is, you could say, okay, I'm gonna delete it with a delete key. The problem is, deleting the edge loop with a delete key um, leaves residue, um, leaves like a lot of see those points here, they belonged to that edge loop. They stay there. So I'm going to undo that, Command Z. So how do we delete that? So I'm going to select the edge. There's a command here that says delete edge / vertex. So that gets rid of everything, edges and endpoints within the edges. So you can do that, or you can say command delete, or control delete. Control delete will get rid of everything, so it cleans up. I'm going to do the same thing with here. Control delete, and the same with here. So I'm kind of getting rid of all this detail I added. This is fine, but this is not fine here. So see, I'm going back to all this. The same with down here. Control delete. So I'll go back to like less detail. So now I'm back to my initial detail. Also, I think I added these at the end, which were like just sharpening. So I have less information. Now I can go ahead and look at the at the image. So I'm gonna just try to shape it like this. To shape it like that, I'm gonna go on the top view. I could just get rid of this too, just so I can shape it. I'm gonna go to the top view. So of course you can go back and reduce the information on your model, and start shaping it again, and then go back to information to adding more detail. So now I'm gonna press R to scale and give this that shape. Also, I see that there's one line like going there, and there's from this seam it narrows down. So maybe since I had this here, I'm gonna press Control Delete, and this is on my way. This is like just the other cushion. I'm just gonna put it in a layer. So I'm gonna go layers. It says here create layer from selected objects. So I selected that, create layer from selected. Here's the layer. I can say, I'm just gonna say cushion 02, and this I'm just gonna straighten everything up here. Let's look at that. So that's sort of a straight line in the back. So I'm gonna select these and just straighten them and sort of move them like that. So something like this. And I can go to the side view, turn on the wireframe unshaded, turn on the X-ray, and now I'm just gonna give this a little bit of shape. These need to be, I'm selecting all those vertices. So that seems like a little bit better now. This is thinner looking, but yeah, so we're gonna just select these. So notice that um, there's like it's sort of a perspective angle, so that kind of gave us a little bit of you know, it, we I just followed the curve, and then now I'm just trying to just follow the seam, and then I'm gonna just add a little bit of a bulge later. So I'm just trying to follow exactly the seam now. You can see here that that's the exact sort of like height. This one here. This is just more of a flat piece. So these, I'm just gonna scale them out a little bit so it's not as intense. So what happens, what I see on this is like it's going down on an angle. So I'm gonna scale the points underneath, so there's a little bit of an angle. So I'm just gonna select these guys and scale them out, so I can create that sort of angle. And then maybe these. So I always do a symmetrical kind of selection. And this is fine. I think that this is kind of the shape we wanted here. And I'm going to do the same with those guys here. So there's a little bit of a shadow thing that is happening, so that can be fixed by selecting the objects. Now that I've been moving things a lot, I need to go to the mesh display. So that shadowing effect is all the normals, the face normals that are like being stretched and modified. So you can actually go and say, okay, harden all the edges again, tighten the edges so we can see everything. So we can do that, and then it kind of goes back to a normal kind of looking object. If I press 3, of course I'm not, I mean, it's very like soft, so we don't want that yet. We want to just we want to make this shape first, make sure that this is what we want, and I will give it a little bit of a just curve here. Like I did on the front. Let's go to the top view. And that looks fine to me. Now I'm going to add the detail. So I'm going to go to my side view. And also when you finish the shape, make sure that all the flow is going. We have a good edge flow. So, you know, like just keep working on these vertices until everything looks nice, you know, and like that the flow is like going. So this is a perspective angle, like the side view that we used last time again is a little bit of a perspective view, so that kind of gives us the illusion that the seat is like, you know, larger. So we want to depend more on a couple of photos. This is very flat actually looking, so we're gonna depend on that. And from here I'm gonna add a little bit of a let's see, there is a little seam all around. I'm going to add that, but just a subtle seam. To do that, first of all, I'm going to add some edge detail. So now if I press 3, this looks like really soft. I'm going to use the um, insert edge loop tool. This is edit mesh, it's not here, so mesh tools. So under the mesh tools for the 2016, you can find the insert edge loop tool. So I'm going to add an edge loop up here and one down here. What this does, if I press 3, is it restrains that shape. Notice that this is very sharp as well. So what we could do is go to that area that it's over here and add an edge loop here. If that's not enough, you can add one more on the other side. And if you go and press, so you can see that we're getting this shape. And of course we need to sharpen this area and that area as well. So that we need to go and add another edge loop over here and one over here. So I'm going to press 3. So I kind of get that shape. For the seam, and also, I mean, this is for the seams down there, up in, you know, the upper and the down area. I need to grab the faces. So I did all the edge sort of fencing technique, and now I'm gonna go and select the faces. Let me just close this window. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the face. So if you select, you can select the face, and then you can keep selecting faces with the shift key, but that's like a lot of work. What you can do is select one face and go to the next one and just hold down the shift and double click, so that will select the entire loop. So let's do that. I'm going to select this whole area and I'm going to extrude that a little bit. So I'm going to go and say edit mesh, extrude. So it asks about the thickness, so I'm going to go and add some thickness. So that's a lot of thickness. We want to go 0.02 maybe, and that's probably too much. I'm going to go 0.1015. If that's not, if you see that you want even less, I mean, that's fine. I think this is a good number. I'm just gonna go and that's what it is. The seams, it's just a little bit of an extrusion of those faces. So I'm gonna go back to one. I notice that I'm going back to 1 and 3, so I can see the hard surface and the soft model. So here, when you do something like that, an extrusion like that, you might wanna refine some certain areas. You know, you see it's kind of sticking out a little bit. So sometimes you want to go and select vertices. You know, maybe those, and you know, carefully select the vertices that are that it's, you know, that seam, and you can move them down a little bit, so it's not like, so you can kind of, you know, do some editing. So here I selected by accident another, so you can press 4 to see through, and I selected more than I needed, so control, deselect what I don't need, go back, press 5, and I can bring this down. I'm going to do the same thing for here. These are sticking out a little bit. we can't really avoid that because we have all these angles, and it's going to be obvious that the extrusion will take that shape. I'm going to do the same with the faces underneath, so I can make the bottom seam. So I'm going to go to face mode, select one face, double click on the one next to it, so I can select the whole loop. Do the exact same extrusion. 0.015, and I'm going to press 3. So now I have this sort of shape. So I'll leave it here and stop the video, and then I'm going to go and finish the other cushion.